Once you say I do, you are going to be under Satan's radar. Oh, yeah, he's after you. He is after you and after your wife and are trying to break down that household, break down that foundation, break down those children, break down that community, break down that city, that state, that nation, and all over. He is trying to infiltrate. So how does he get in? Well, we have to examine the situation from the beginning. I made a video on the importance of deliverance. And I also indicated in that video how, especially when you come together in a marriage, it is very important to not only have God in your life, but to get delivered of the old you. Because what's happening is, if you don't get those demons out of your members, of your heart, your mind, your body, your spirit, your soul, your psyche, every part of your life, if you don't get that out, if you don't uproot it, if you don't spiritually get deliverance, then what's going to happen is those demons are going to be in opposition with your wife or with your husband who's saved and you're not. You see, this message is very marriage orientated. So if you are about to get married or if you are already married, considering marriage, this message is for you. Okay, I'm coming up on my 7th year marriage, and trust and believe, I will be a liar. Okay. If I would say the devil hasn't thrown everything but the kitchen sink at my husband and I. Oh yeah, we go through some things, but thank God, God is the center. My husband wakes up every day, 4 o'clock in the morning. He anoints our home. He prays. He wars in the spirit for our home. He is the priest of our home. He is the leader. He is the head and not the tail. You see, brothers, you need to set the mandate and the stage and the tone of that spiritual atmosphere. We need you, brothers. We need you out there as the head leading us. See, we need to be led, okay? Wives need to be led. Children need to be led. But what happens out there when the husband's not saved and the wife is borderline saved and the children just want to run amok and listen to all types of things and live in rebellion and cuss and sneak and sip and dip and trip? What happens when the devil has crept in? Well, I'm going to give you 7 different strategic tools of Satan's toolbox that he tries to dismantle in marriages. And then I want to give you some spiritual tools in which you can combat it and get into prayer and warfare to intercept those darts. If you don't have God as the center, you have who? Satan running the show, running your life, running your marriage, running your family. Okay? And now it's like WWF in that household. Oh yeah, we're going to get deep today. You see, it's not about he or she is the roommate. It's at a point where you're no longer speaking. And this is the first one, the silent treatment. When the silent treatment has been erected in that household. Husband walks in the house, doesn't even greet the wife, doesn't even kiss the wife on the lips, doesn't even talk about or have time enough to express how his day or her day was. They have no eye contact, no physical, emotional contributions toward one another. No affection. There's no love. The silent treatment has been erected. It's been erected for a few days. You know, they argue a little bit and then I ain't gonna talk to him. I ain't gonna talk to her. She started it. He started it. Who dropped the ball? Doesn't matter. Pick it up. Pick up the ball, somebody, before the silent treatment starts infiltrating with the children. When the silent treatment is erected, when nobody wants to talk to one another, it's far beyond he's a roommate, she's a roommate. Oh, it goes to the point where they're enemies. Silent treatment is one of Satan's tools of his toolbox. The next one, unresolved arguments. Unresolved arguments is one of those things that Satan loves. You go to bed pissed off at each other, downright. You don't want to talk about it. You hold gripes and you hold all of this anger inside. You're like a bubbling melting pot of venom And all it takes is one thing to set you off. Brothers and sisters, unresolved arguments is a way that Satan gains leverage in your marriage. You have to sit down with that person, brothers and sisters. You have to communicate your feelings on a civil standpoint. It's already far beyond he hurt your feelings, she hurt your feelings. It comes to the point where you have to literally sit down and just love one another enough to talk. Well, he's difficult. She's difficult. She don't want to talk. Every time we talk, it's an argument. It's not even worth it. Well, what is it doing now? How are you doing now? You got the silent treatment. You got unresolved arguments. It's going to lead into hatred, brothers and sisters. You're going to start hating that person. It's going to be really ugly. You need to sit that person down. Stop with the silent treatment. Stop with the unresolved arguments. You have to find a common ground and a solution as to, see, it's not the fact that you can't solve what the argument is all about. You could solve it. If it's a financial situation, you could solve it. You could cut back. You could do other things. The bottom line is that communication has to be prevalent. The next one, disrespect. Disrespect is very, very cancerous, because what happens is, it comes to a point where you say, a disrespectful thing and it really hurts. But what happens is it spreads. It comes to a point where that disrespect comes to physical. You disrespected me? What? Okay, it's on. And you're ready to throw the pots and pans. You're ready to get the gun loaded and do things that, unimaginable. Satan wants to destroy your household, brothers and sisters, and it's up to you to realize that being disrespectful towards your spouse is not blessing the marriage. It's hurting the marriage. You need to tame your tongue. You need to literally realize that disrespect, especially in a marriage, is a formula for disaster. Why? Because nobody likes to be disrespected, especially from the person you are supposed to be loving. Now you said I do, and all hell breaks loose. He's a liar. He's a cheater. He's a woman beater. He's this, he's that, he's that, he's this. But you didn't know that. Well, you didn't do your due diligence. Why? After disrespect, you have a hardened heart. This is one of the tools of the devil that permeates in a lot of marriages. After the silent treatment, after the unresolved arguments and the disrespect, you begin to have a hardened heart. It's not soft anymore. You get to a point where the love is slowly, like a balloon that's been popped, seeping out. It gets smaller and smaller. Your hardened heart runs cold. So if your hardened heart and your disrespect and your arguments and your silent treatment is prevalent, you know the bed is cold. Oh yeah, there's no fun going on in the bedroom. And once there's no fun going on in the bedroom, you despise the person you look at. What happens to that sexual drive? Oh, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be still there. It's not going to be in your house, particularly, but it's going to be looking at someone else's house. Next one, bitterness. Oh, man. Now you found out they cheating. You got bitterness toward that person, huh? You let your pride get in, and now you got bitterness. You hate the person. You're bitter. You're bitter that they found happiness. You're bitter that they got a chance to slip and dip, but yet Satan is laughing. Why? Because there's a crack in the pavement. There's a crack in the pavement because now you are bitter. And when you are bitter, the spirit of rage comes creeping in. Next one. Other people, when other people get in the way, like I said, now there's a crack in the pavement. Someone slipped, someone dipped. You're at a point where, you're ready to go to the divorce court. You have your suspicions. There's a crack in the pavement, something going on. Now it's time Time gets in the way. Satan's strategy and Satan's tools doesn't stop with other people. Time gets in the way. When time gets in the way, Satan gains leverage. Why? Because now you have all of these negative attributes. You got the silent treatment. You got the unresolved arguments. You got the disrespect, hardness of heart, bitterness. Other people get in the way. Other people become attractive. Other people become their next victim. But now time. When time is like an enemy. When time becomes an enemy. Why? Because all of these years pass by. Nothing's been resolved. You're living with this person. It's the silent treatment. You're living with the enemy. There's no love. There's nothing resolved. But time, year after year, your kids are growing up and you still, I'm not talking to anybody out there today. This message is for you. Why? Because if you don't realize that Satan is after your marriage and you sitting there, ain't doing nothing, ain't fighting no more, you're numb. That's exactly the standpoint that Satan wants you to be in. Brothers and sisters, you think that marriage is a joke. You think you just get together, you go into bed, you please each other sexually, and that's it. Marriage is spiritual. And if you don't see the spiritual side and the fact that Satan, is targeting marriages strategically. If you don't realize that once you say I do, that puts a target on you and your spouse, you and that children, you in that neighborhood, you in that household, you in that city, you in your workplace. Why? Because now Satan has strategically made that secretary just a little bit more sexy right when you had that argument. Oh yeah, he is going to make that CEO or that pastor, from some of you ladies who are coveting other people's marriages and checking out the pastor just a little bit too long. Do you realize that a lot of reasons why the Christian churches are so full of women is because they fantasize about the pastor being their man? He's got a lot of money. He's got charisma. He's the ideal husband that they just can't have. Am I getting deep tonight? Am I getting deep today? You better wake up, people. You better know that Satan is against your marriage. And if you don't get the tools, and if you don't realize that spitefulness is the next on the list, I named 7 strategic tools. And spitefulness, oh yeah, tit for tat, tat for tit. I'm going to get you back. I'm going to make a fool of you in front of your family. I'm going to do all these things to spite you. I'm going to make you a laughing stock. Brothers and sisters, we have to wake up. We are wrestling not against flesh and blood. It's not about your spouse, Well, you think it is. You think it is about the one you said I do with. It's not about that person. It's about making sure that Satan is not the center of that marriage. Because once Satan becomes the center of that marriage, it is downright almost impossible. Almost. Especially if there's 2 unbelievers. Especially if there's a halfway believer, lukewarm, okay, and a downright Satanist. And I'm not talking about cutting cats in the back alley. I'm talking about a person who don't got God on their life. I'm talking about a person, who has not a clue as to what this war is all about. A person who's spiritually naked on the battlefield. You got bombs over Baghdad, so to speak, coming at you. Darts, demons, the whole shebang. And you out there, not even with a butter knife, Not even with a butter knife. We need to literally sit down in our marriages. We need to realize that jumping into marriage It's not just, a royal wedding, Kim Kardashian type of thing. Like it's the glitz and the glad. Oh no, you're going to go through some stuff. Make sure that God is in the center.